Hi guys, my name is Kem. Welcome to my channel. So today guys, I'm going to be doing an energy read for the new moon on October 6th in Libra. I won't be doing the astrology, but I'll put some links to readers who do. So I pulled beforehand because the Virgo in me had to do it and like be organized. So let's start off. So we have happy. I mean, it sounds like happy, but I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. But it's interesting because Happy is the god of the Nile. And if you guys know a little bit about like geography, you guys know that like Egypt is basically in the desert, and like the Nile supplies, like I'm not sure how many like countries, but it's like very, very pivotal for like the way of life in Egypt. Like the Nile's, there wouldn't be like an Egypt if there was no Nile basically. And what's really interesting here is how it's like a cup, right? And it's like symmetrical. And I find it like really interesting because we're talking about Libra, and I feel like there's like an aspect of relationships here, and then we have like this symmetry, and then we have like 2 here and 2 here. Like I was looking for 1 and 1, I got 2 and 2. So I feel like there's something going on with the symmetry, there's something going on with the balance, right? And what this card signifies is the joining of opposition in harmony. It represents an influx of positive energy that brings a sense of renewal. And I feel like that's just exactly what we're talking about. Like I feel like that's like literally going to be the vibe for this new moon, right? It's literally the joining, right? And it's funny because it's oppositional. Opposition is joining, right? Like, so 2 things that like were opposed at one point are joining. Again, it could be like something happening within, but I really feel like it could be something external as well, right? It's like, I mean, yes, we are always shifting inside, and that's what's leading to this shift on the outside, right? In our 3D. So I feel like it's a really, really good energy, right? We have like this symmetry, we have these like oppositions joining, we're talking about like positive energy coming in. So already like this new moon seems like, I mean, it seems like it's very beautiful. And then what's like even more interesting is that we have a lot about unity and then like loneliness, right? So I feel like for a lot of us, I think a lot of us are thinking that this new moon is going to like affect relationships in some aspect, and I think it will, because here we're talking about a joining, right? And what's really interesting is that we're talking about the Nile, right? We're talking about water, we're talking about a cup, right? Like look at the cup at the back of this, like there's literally like a cup there. Kind of looks like the Ace of Cups, honestly. So I think it's like so interesting. Like I think this new moon in Libra is going to have a lot to do with the cup. It's going to have a lot to do with our emotions. It's going to have a lot to do with like basically like loyalty, right? Relationships, that part, right? The heart. And these 2 cards I feel like are like confirming that, because we have a blessing to ease the loneliness and bring companionship, number 40. And then we have a blessing for unity where once there was division. So again, we're getting like that confirmation of that joining, that unity, again, as within, so without. So this could be, as we step into unity with ourselves, we're going to start coming into union with like a soulmate, because again, it has to start within. It always has to start within. So I feel like it's just such a beautiful read already. So with a blessing to ease loneliness and bring companionship, it's basically like what it says, right? But what I really like about this card is that it's a 4, and a 4 means communication, right? And I feel like for a lot of us, this has kind of been the mode we've been in, right? Like this, like, it's not, I don't want to say it's loneliness, but I guess it could be. I mean, I feel like we all feel lonely at times, especially when you're single and you're, trying to work on yourself. It doesn't leave a lot of room for like, I feel like it doesn't leave room sometimes because we're like in this mode, right? And we get in this way with ourselves where we're like continuously doing work and like, you know what I mean? I feel like we can kind of get into this like rhythm, and I feel like a lot of us have been lonely. A lot of us have been like doing the work and kind of waiting. And what's really interesting is like she's holding a sword. So I feel like communication could be something that's coming in. It could be also just clarity, like intuition guiding you somewhere. But I do see this as like a companion kind of coming in, because we have a lot of green. We have the white with the renewal. We have the 4. We have the sword. So yeah, definitely like could be a chance for communication this new moon. And maybe it's just the way we communicate to ourselves, you know, like a change in like the way we communicate to ourselves, right? We're talking about a huge positive energy that's coming in. And I feel like, again, we could always like stand to be more positive on ourselves. I feel like the way that we treat ourselves, right? Like, how is anyone going to treat us well if we don't treat ourselves well, right? If we don't talk to ourselves well. And I feel like it's kind of reminding me of the, like, I feel like blame kind of comes into this a little bit. It's like we've been alone for a long time, and I feel like this is something that we have to let go of. Like, we have to reclaim our own power for our own lives, right? So I feel like, again, this loneliness, I don't want to call it loneliness. I just want to say like us being alone, right? Could have been something that we chose to do at a point in time. And I feel like, again, it's because we're getting through these energies, these difficult energies. And I feel like the energies we've been getting through is like, one, blaming someone else possibly for the reason we're like alone, right? Like, well, I wouldn't be alone if I was still with this person, but they had to go do blah, 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 blah. Like, again, this blame, I feel like, is something that we're learning to kind of drop and like come back to our own power, to come back to our own intuition, our own clarity. Like, again, like this clarity of mind, right? And I feel like it's really significant that we drop this blame, right? For anyone and any person who, you know, like we give power to over ourselves. Again, like we're coming back, I feel like, into our own power. And I feel like coming into our own power, like after being alone for a long time, you know, like when you used to feel like, I feel like when I was in a relationship, I would like feel like there's this energy that like this high that I feel like as a single person, it was like really hard to achieve the same high. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I feel like maybe they're just different, and that's why it's hard to like achieve the same thing. But it's like that really high frequency that I feel like you can get from another person when you're both are like vibing at the same like energy. I feel like alone is difficult to create, and maybe it's not hard, maybe it's actually easier, but in like the 3D, we're always told like, you know, go find that person to go help you, like do this, and maybe that's something we've learned, right? Like, we don't need anybody else, we just need ourselves. And yes, sometimes it could be a little bit lonely, but at the end of the day, like, we're fulfilling our own like duties, our own destinies, our own like jobs basically to ourselves. And I feel like that this like shift that's happening, yes, like some of us will reach like companionship, and I feel like it's because of all this work that we did when we were single, right? And we were alone. So I feel like the alone time is like so important, right? Because it's like the only way we could get to the companionship was through this time. So I feel like there's reverence for this time period, right? And I feel like, again, there's no one to blame, right? There's no one to blame. It's like everything that we have, it's like this has been learned, this has been dealt with, like this is gone, right? Like, we're not blaming anyone else for like anything else that's like anything that's happening to us, even the bad. Like, again, like just claiming responsibility for ourselves. And I feel like that's why for a lot of us companionship can be coming, because again, it's that cup, it's like it's love basically, right? And I feel like it's coming. Again, don't like underestimate this time period, right? And then we have a blessing for unity where once there was division. So what's really interesting to me about this card is this like idea of unity and division, right? It's like, oh, like Libra season, we're finally seeing like unity. But like, how do I explain this? I feel like we're never, if you again, it's like we go from this idea of being alone to in union, but at the same time, it's like we're never really alone, right? So it's like, I feel like a lot of us are going to meet someone, yes, that, I mean, we've been waiting for, right? It's like a 10. It's like the end. It's the ending and then the beginning, right? It's like, yes, I feel like a lot of people have been waiting for this, especially like the feminine energy, right? But I feel like the lesson that had to be learned here is like one that we're like, again, we're never alone. Like basically we're never alone. And also that this idea of service, right? I feel good when I can help others. What I'm getting with this card is like, you see a lot of green with the heart, and there's like a lot of green here. I feel like there was a lesson in giving, right? when we give, right, we are giving our energy away basically, right? And sometimes like we're given back so much more in return, and sometimes we're not. And I feel like this idea of service, right, in giving is something that we're gonna not be like tested on, but kind of, right? Like, or we were tested on, and it's like now it's like it's like kind of time to like see like how well we do basically to be honest, because I feel like giving when it comes to unity, right, it's not about being the same, right? Like in union, I feel like two people are like, oh, we're the same and we're one, but no, it's about being like exactly who you are, right? And that's what I'm trying to say. It's like we're all going to be coming from such different places, and this isn't going to look like, this union isn't going to look exactly how we thought it was. Like maybe the person approaching you is going to be very, very different from you. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like they might be very, very different from you, but at the same time, like it's a soul thing, right? And I feel like at the same time we have to like, I still think it's like very easy to overgive at times, or maybe for some of us the problem is not overgiving but like not giving enough. So I feel like this is going to be a real test to like the time that we're giving to others basically, right? Like it's like, you know, when you're single for a really long time and you kind of get in your own ways and you're like, you know, like I don't want to do this at that time, I'm not going to do that, like that's it, you know. Like this is kind of the time that's going to see like, can you be accommodating of your own time, right? Because again, like if you truly master the lesson of feeling in union with yourself and never really feeling alone, then like this person is just meant to like complete you. And like one thing I'm getting is like this person's gonna be very different from like what you expect, and like how this comes about is going to be different. Again, like this idea of union is going to be different than what we think, but at the same time it's going to test like our ability to like give basically, because I feel like for a lot of us who've been alone for a while, we've only had to, you know, answer to ourselves. And I feel like now is kind of the test to, you know, are we going to be of service? Are we going to give our time? And again, there's always this idea of discernment and like being wise and making sure like the person that's approaching us is the right person, and you know, like we feel the connection on a soul level. But I mean, overall, like I really feel like this new moon is like such a beautiful energy. I feel like, you know, everything that's coming is like, it has to do with union, it has to do with like companionship, it has to do with this cup basically, right? And this heart, we're getting all this green, right? And I mean, for a lot of us, communication will be coming in, but again, it's gonna look different than what we expected. But at the same time, it's how it feels, right? It's the cup, it's how it feels. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.